Me too. Oh, I hit the record on the other one.
That's
I mean,
okay.
wait.
I'll start that too.
Okay.
All right.
Hi, everybody. I'm sick again for the second time in 2 weeks.
Oh, you're sick again?
Yeah,
Oh
for the second
no.
time in 2 weeks. I think it's allergies, but I can't tell.
I'm
And by
sorry.
sick, I mean I'm phlegmy, and that's my only symptom.
Well, I apologize. I'm wearing the wrong color glasses. I left my other glasses in the car. So,
They're gone forever now.
yeah. Yeah, RIP. RIP my normal glasses. I have
Yeah.
the same exact pair coming in with blue blockers anyway, so. Anyway, do you want to do a count in?
Yeah, let's do it. Oh, yeah, I am recording. Good for me.
Oh, all right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Idiot's Guide to Horror.
Counteracting the toxic culture surrounding horror fandom and breaking down your favorite horror movies.
With you, as always, your host, Cara Sarah Sanderson Popovich.
And Christopher Mary Sanderson Haberman. So everybody turn off the lights, grab your witch store gift certificates, and let's get ready to dissect The Craft. 1996. Can you believe it?
I had so many options. I ran through, I deleted a few. I was just like, goblets and blades. And then I was like, no, we'll need that another time when we don't have something more hot topic-y. So I was going to just say like hot topic gift certificates, but I changed my mind.
Hey, it works.
Yeah. So this is everybody's favorite movie.
And if it's not, you're wrong.
I don't feel like I'm generalizing. I feel like that's just a statement that is also a fact. The Craft is everybody's favorite film. It was made in 1996, directed by Andrew Fleming, who is not a woman.
Not a woman.
Not a woman, but all I know is that as a woman, this movie gets me riled up.
It gives her a husband's bulge.
We're not letting go of that.
Never. Never.
So yeah.
Put that in the notes.
First of all, every time I watch this movie, I have an urge to dress like them. And I know that I have at least 3 outfits in my closet that are inspired by The Craft.
Right.
Like I know that that's a thing. But since I am 31 and it's not cute to be a poser goth anymore, I have to.
Says who?
I mean, when I was a kid, I was definitely a little poser goth.
I was a non-poser goth as a child. I'll post some pictures someday, and then you can all marvel in how cool I used to be.
You were very good at it. I wasn't allowed to dye my hair or get any piercings or buy the cool clothes.
Oh, I used to leave the house with ladies' boy shorts on, like the underwear, and like 15 pairs of fishnets and a corset, and that was an outfit that I wore outside frequently.
Yeah, and you had that great hair.
Oh, I had the best hair.
You had
Look
great
at me
hair.
now, bald.
Not bald, but definitely not as much hair as you used to have.
No, I was like the emo kid.
Have you seen these like TikToks of like Gen Z scene kids?
No.
There was one, I saw one where there was like a 15-year-old girl that was all excited that she found a phone from like 2007 because it took super low quality photos that looked like real MySpace scene photos.
I feel attacked. Was it like an LG chocolate? Because I had that.
I think so. It was something like that. Yeah.
God. You know what I would have killed for was a Sidekick, the phone.
Oh my God.
Paris Hilton used to have this phone. We all had this phone. I didn't have one.
No.
I didn't have T-Mobile.
I didn't know anybody who had a Sidekick.
Oh, I knew a bunch.
Really?
Uh-huh. But it was only a T-Mobile phone. They were Sidekicks. You flipped them with a thumb and it spun out. You can't see me unless you're watching. You can probably see me. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see my Sidekick opening hands.
Yeah. I wanted just any phone. I didn't have a cell phone until I was like 19 years old.
I think I had one younger than that, but I might have been 14 or 15. I was 16, guys. I was 16.
So I got a track phone.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it ran out of minutes, I was just shit out of luck.
My whenever I was a Ute, I got a touchscreen phone whenever they were new, and I didn't have an unlimited plan because they weren't a thing yet, because phones that could access the internet were very new. And after my first month of owning it, my dad made me take it back.
What?
Yeah, because not only did text messaging cost money, but minutes cost. We used to, guys, whenever we were children, text messaging wasn't a thing you could do.
No, you had to pay per text message.
Per text message.
Yeah.
So what you had to do was wait until after 9 p.m. or like 7 on weekends and make phone calls to your friends, because you had unlimited minutes after 9 on weekdays.
Right. Yeah. And that was the thing with track phones. You had to like get those cards and pay per minute. And each text message was something like a half a minute or something like that.
It was like a half a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is bonkers to think about now when I'm just like shooting off iMessages like a machine gun.
Well, that was the thing with iPhones, was iMessages are free.
Right. Yeah. But I didn't get an iPhone until like 5 years ago.
I got my first iPhone was 2013. I had the iPhone 5, and then I never went back.
Yeah, I'm never going back now. Not to advertise for Apple too hard or anything, but
I couldn't go back if I wanted to. I have this stupid giant iPad. I have this MacBook. I have an Apple TV. I have an iPod. I have like the newest version of iPod.
Do they still make iPods?
No.
I
have the most recent one, which is like a few years old.
See, kids, an iPod was like an iPhone, except it was just solely for putting music on.
Yeah, I have all my stolen audiobooks on it.
Ah, nice. Yes. All right. Anyway, The Craft.
Sorry, J.K. Rowling. You're not getting any of my money.
Oh, well, fuck her anyway. So, if you want to give us a little back of the... Oh, you can watch The Craft right now on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Which I probably will again and again because it just feels good for me.
I didn't want to, like, I'm not going to lie. I didn't want to watch it this week because I had just watched it last week and then 2 weeks before that. So I'm like, I don't really need to watch it. I could probably, like, I'm fine, you know?
And then by the time you finished it, were you like, I'm glad I watched this again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Because once you're like at the point where they like start doing the magic, it's like, this is the right place to be.
This movie is like, and it's so quotable.
Yes. This is what they call the good stuff, I believe.
I just looked it up. It has a 57% on Rotten Tomatoes.
And 53% of you are wrong.
Yeah.
So maybe we should address that.
I didn't give it a 5 out of 5, but I gave it more than a 57%.
I haven't even decided what I'm going to rate it yet. We'll see when we get there. But in the meantime, would you grace us? Would you so kindly bless us, Chris, with a back of the box description for The Craft?
Picture it. The year is 1996. You're there with your Discman. You have the Counting Crows in your head, and you are walking to the video store because you didn't have a car or a license. So, oh no, you're listening to Superman's Dead by Our Lady Peace.
Oh, that's good. There you go.
Because you're edgy as fuck, right?
Right.
And you get to the video store. You're browsing through the horror section, which disqualifies. You find it. You see it there. The box. This VHS is 4 girls standing in front of a clouds, lightning, thunder, the works. You know, you pick it up, you turn it over, and it says, A Catholic school newcomer falls into a clique of teen witches who wield their powers against all who dare to cross them, be they teachers, rivals, or meddlesome parents.
It's good stuff.
Mhm.
First of all, yeah, I did want to address like we are the runners of this podcast, and we have decided that The Craft counts as horror.
If you like, when I looked it up on Google, Google said it's horror,
Oh, see,
horror fantasy, and
I
on a film
agree.
focus.
I
Mhm.
agree 100%. I believe that maybe it's not scary, but I believe that it's horror. I'm
On
willing to make a
Wikipedia,
case for that.
The Craft is a 1996 American supernatural horror film. So fuck off.
I don't think that any of you will disagree because this is the most enthusiastic response that we got as soon as we like even teased a film that we were covering. Like everybody immediately was like, "Hail to the Guardians of the Watchtower!"
Yeah. Hear me.
Yeah,
Us.
you
Hear
guys,
us.
you guys can probably all just be on this call with us doing this
Yeah.
episode. So just imagine that you are. Spoiler warning, we are going to talk about this movie in depth up to and including the ending. So if you haven't seen this movie, please pause this episode and watch it. Please.
Please.
Please. You're going to want to. So anyway.
Are you back yet? No, I don't know.
Let's get into some movie facts. What do you think?
Let's do it. Number A. Do you know that Robin Tunney, did I say her name? Tunney. She wore an auburn wig throughout the film because she shaved her head to play Deb in Empire Records.
Which wrapped up a month before production started on this film, which is insane. Also, good wig.
No, it's a moderate wig. Every gay I've ever spoken to said her hair seems off in that movie.
1996 for 1996.
It was a pretty good wig.
Good wig.
It wasn't hard front, it was fine.
Except,
but can we just talk about how much I love Deb and Empire Records?
Of course we can, and I have like some parallels.
Oh, I do too in the notes. Yeah.
Yes, between Deb and Sarah that I am willing to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, the 90s is probably like my favorite era for pop cinema.
Agree.
Just great stuff.
Especially like Empire Records.
Yeah, of course.
Empire Records is one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time. I know that it has a bad review score on Rotten Tomatoes, and that won't change a thing for me.
I know so few people that actually hate it. I feel like people thinking that Empire Records is bad is a myth.
Yeah. Everybody's in it.
Yeah.
And it's great. And I still pay money to watch it every year in a movie theater. So
yeah. Anyway, movie fact number B. Even though the film followed all of the rules to earn a PG-13 rating, it was rated R because it dealt with teenage girls practicing witchcraft. This movie is rated R.
Yeah.
No,
right?
It's not.
Or did I lie?
No, it's not. You can't tell me anything. I refuse.
Yep, rated R.
Son of a... No. No, what?
I know. Can you believe it?
They don't say any swears. They say bitch a couple of times. They don't, there's no blood. There's like the teeniest little bit of blood. There's no like explicit sex. There
is some sexual assault.
Yes. Yeah. Which trigger warning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's blowing my mind right now because I definitely have always thought this was a PG-13 movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, now we know because I found that out last night when I was typing all this garbage up.
So let's say the MPAA re-rates The Craft today. Does it get an R rating?
PG? I've seen Nickelodeon original movies that had more swear words in it and were rated PG.
Yeah. Also, The Craft Legacy, I think, was PG-13.
I haven't seen it yet. Do I want to?
You know what? Didn't hate it as much as everybody else did. It's not great, but it's a cute little banger, I guess. Anyway, you want to give us number C?
It is PG-13. Number C. Andrew Fleming believes that Charmed ripped off The Craft. I would agree.
The
And
power
here's
of
why.
3 will set us free.
Yeah, I know. And they took the opening song. The one by the Smiths.
Thinking about that. So when they play How Soon Is Now in The Craft, like immediately, if you know Charmed, like, doesn't your mind go right to like, why is there this connection between witches and the song How Soon Is Now?
Right.
Do witches love Morrissey?
Maybe.
Right in.
I do love Morrissey. No, I like the Smiths.
I hesitate at this point in my life to say that I love Morrissey since he is racist garbage, but I do enjoy the music of the Smiths. You know what? I'm gonna stop. We're done here. So before Rachel True was cast in the film as Rochelle, Rochelle struggled from an eating disorder, and it was changed to racist bullying. Why didn't they just leave it as it? Why did it need to be changed to racist bullying?
I'd have to call up my good friend Andrew Fleming, but
that just feels.
I mean, Rachel Truth thinks now that she was hesitant about it originally, but now she believes that it was important.
You know what? Yes, I do remember her saying that in the horror noir documentary. I do remember her saying that. My bad. Sorry.
Hey, number E. Did you know that both Angelina Jolie and Alicia Silverstone were considered for the role of Sarah Bailey?
I would have loved to see Alicia Silverstone in the role of Sarah Bailey.
I know.
Angelina Jolie, not so much.
No.
Maybe as an alternate Nancy.
Well,
not that I would want anybody to replace Fairuza Balk. Not that I would ever. Chris, I'm not.
Why would you say that?
I'm not. Don't worry. Shh. It's okay.
Fairuza Balk is like a goddess.
I know. And I want to talk about this. I miss her. Where is she?
My friend just has a picture with her at some Comic-Con of recent.
She was a queen in the 90s. We worshipped Fairuza Balk. We as a people worshipped Fairuza Balk.
And she even made that movie about the football kid less bad. What was that movie?
The Waterboy.
The Waterboy.
Is The Waterboy bad?
I don't think I like it.
It's been a long time. Most Adam Sandler movies, I guess, have like a certain charm, certain je ne sais quoi. Not an Adam Sandler fan.
I can't think of one. Hold on.
So you like Chris Farley, right?
Yeah, I like him okay.
Oh, okay.
I was reading reviews for Tommy Boy this morning for some reason, and Roger Ebert hated it. That's all I remember.
You went all the way to. I thought you were just talking about like just perusing user reviews on like Letterboxd for Tommy Boy.
I was reading Roger Ebert's most hated movies of all time, and Tommy Boy was on it.
Okay, fair. Well, anyway, I guess we should walk through this movie.
Yeah.
So do you want to start or do you want me to dive right in here?
So picture it. There's 3 girls chanting, and you know the chant. You already know it. I'm not going to tell it to you because you already know it. But what it is they're saying, now is the time. This is the hour. Ours is the magic. Ours is the power. And they're just chanting that because that's what chanting means, is to chant it.
Mm-hmm.
So then all of a sudden.
What?
Well, yeah, chanting means to chant it.
Oh my God.
You didn't know? Yeah. That's what it means. I know. And then like they're doing that for a minute, and then all of a sudden you have the most 90s opening sequence of all time. It starts off with Our Lady Peace, and then it like a barrage of images flash across the screen, and then
All witch stuff.
yeah, then the title card, The Craft, is in the clouds, and it says
Floating
The
around.
Craft.
Yeah.
Just it can fly. It can fly.
Like Sarah, who is in an airplane with her parents, headed from San Francisco to Los Angeles, which they moved on a plane to move within the same state.
Maybe it's okay. Now let's think about this. How far away is San Francisco to LA?
I mean, like it's far. I think it's like an 8-hour drive.
I would still fly.
Let me make sure I'm not lying about that. I know absolutely fuck all about that. Let's see. Anyway, if you want to continue while I'm looking up.
So Sarah's in a plane with her parents, and then they land. They're waiting for a taxi in the rain, and then we get to the new house. They're getting inside. It's raining inside. The mother person whose name I didn't write down wants to put up damask curtains. They would look nice here. And then Papa Bailey is all like, Marge, we need a new roof. Her name isn't Marge. I just couldn't remember what it was. She goes upstairs. Sarah goes upstairs, puts up a picture of her mother, her like birth mother, comes back downstairs. She's like flipping through records or whatever she's doing. And then a man walks into the house and tries to give her a snake. He said, I found this outside. I thought you might like it. So unfortunately, Papa Bailey comes downstairs, chases the man away, and then brutally murders this poor innocent snake who had nothing to do with anything. So
this movie's so mean to snakes.
And the homeless.
And the homeless. It's very mean to the homeless. The houseless. So at her new school, she is the only person not wearing a uniform. She realizes that it's a Catholic school by the fact that everybody's wearing a uniform, and also by the fact that there's a big old crucifix in the archway when she walks in. And she's first then we meet the girls that were chanting at the beginning of the film, and it's Nancy, Bonnie, and Rochelle, and they're all talking about how Bonnie's reading. Bonnie, who is my sweet best friend. She's like
aggressively reading this book too.
Yeah, Bonnie is my sweet best friend, Nev Campbell. If nobody knows this, Nev Campbell and I are best friends, and I have the photo to prove it.
And then she made her cry.
Yeah. So sweet, perfect angel Nev Campbell, aka Bonnie, henceforth known as Bonnie, is reading a book and saying that their like horoscope, I think, for the day.
It's an almanac.
Oh, okay. Well, that's basically a horoscope. Is saying that they're going to meet their fourth today. And Nancy casually pulls a noose out of her locker and just hangs on it.
I know.
Nancy, who is the aforementioned 90s alternative princess of America's Heart, Fairuza Balk. Nancy like pulls out this noose, she's hanging on it, and she's saying like, oh, I don't think we need a fourth. And they're disagreeing. Rochelle and Bonnie are disagreeing with her. So meanwhile, in class, in French class, the French teacher is speaking solely in French, and Breckenmeyer is
who I didn't meet last weekend, but I pointed at because he was at Steel City Con.
Did he see you pointing at him?
No, he was busy.
Yeah.
With like people who had gotten to his line and I couldn't bear. Yeah.
Breckenmeyer's being an asshat in French class, and the French teacher asks him if he got laid in French, which is not a thing that happens in schools. If your teacher is asking you if you're getting laid, report that teacher.
Yeah.
That's a PSA to the children. And Sarah makes herself noticeable by correcting the French for getting laid. And so Bonnie looks over at her and sees that Sarah is making a pencil levitate and like drill into the desk. And when she notices Bonnie noticing her, she stops what she's doing. And then Bonnie like rushes into biology and sits next to Nancy and Rochelle and says like, she's here, our fourth, like she's here. And then Sarah comes in, asks if she can sit with them because she needs to find a group. And they just stare at her.
Yeah, Nancy has like, she's mean mugging.
Right. Yeah.
At lunch, we meet Chris, who is
Skeet Ulrich.
Skeet Ulrich. You may know from the other movie he was in with Nev Campbell, Scream.
Oh, little old thing.
You heard of it? It was pretty popular.
Anybody?
All right.
We can talk about it.
Actually, we have. Just go back a couple of months and listen to that episode. Pause this one.
Yeah.
Hey, Scream.
It'll be here.
Yeah. Oh, anyway. So Skeet Chris calls they're talking about the girls we met earlier, Nancy, Bonnie, Rochelle, and he calls them the bitches of Eastwick, which is a very, very clever, funny pun.
Hysterical. No one's ever said that before.
Never. He talks about them. Bonnie has scars. Nancy's a slut. Nothing about Rochelle. So, but they're witches. And then he invites Sarah to come watch him play football after school. And then here comes How Soon Is Now by Not the Smiths.
All right. So first of all, the way that he invites her is really fucking lame and weird.
Oh yeah. Do you have any plans tonight? I do.
I'm busy. I'm practice. I have football practice. And then he's like, you can come watch if you want. And she's like, because what the fuck? Like, but somehow she's actually charmed by that.
I wouldn't say charmed because, copyright.
Oh, right. Sorry. The power of 3 will set us free.
Yeah. Maybe I'm going to watch that someday.
So she actually goes and watches him. Yes, as Chris said, she actually goes to football practice, but doesn't let him see that she's watching him from like outside the gate. And How Soon is Now is playing. And then all 3 of the girls, Nancy, Bonnie, and Rochelle, all show up outside of the gate. And Nancy tells her, like, Chris comes on to anything with tits.
Except for Bonnie.
And Bonnie says, except for me. Because we're supposed to believe that Nev Campbell is any form of ugly just because she has some scars on her back.
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm sorry, but I can see her face. I still see what she looks like. Like, putting her in some frumpy clothes isn't going to change the fact that Nev Campbell is Nev Campbell.
But she did play frumpy really well. Like, she had the whole thing down. Like, she was walking with her head hunched over. She was reading her books, like assaulting these books into her face. Bestie like blending into the background. She was good.
Bestie did great. So yeah, Nancy says, like, he also spreads disease. Believe me, I know. And then she asks Sarah if she wants to get coffee. And Sarah says that she should get home. And Nancy's like, nope, you're coming with us. But she didn't actually mean that she wants to get coffee, because they're going to the magic shop.
Yeah. They never do get coffee. They go to that occult shop frequently.
Yeah, they go to the occult, or sometimes, as they're called, metaphysical shops. I prefer to call them metaphysical shops if I'm going to get my sage or whatever.
I prefer to get. Okay, we'll get there when we get to the store, because then I have to like share my experiences versus their experiences.
I cannot wait for that. Let's go. Okay.
So they go to this metaphysical shop.
Thank you.
Why are there so many candles lit? Who has the time for that?
Yeah, I've never walked into one that had candles actively lit, because that's a fire hazard.
And there are hundreds of them. Like, I don't go a lot, because there's not that many around us. There's like a good 6 or 7, you know. But the one I like is in Allentown, next to that coffee shop where all the coffees cost 666. Which one's that?
Black Forge.
Yeah, that's it. There's an occult shop, which I'm calling an occult shop because it is an occult shop. So here in this metaphysical shop, because it's like healing light and goodness, there's like candles and books and yeah, candles and books pretty much.
Mhm. See, they're not really this gimmicky. If you go to New Orleans, they're really gimmicky in New Orleans.
Mhm.
But that's because it's for tourists and like, but like actual occult or metaphysical shops are just like usually just like cute little, like they're just cute little mom and pop shops with like shelves and like baskets with price tags and shit.
Yeah. She buys that book. She buys a book, it's a manifestation journal or whatever they call it. And it's only $20. And she also gets candles and another book on top of that. She gets all this for $20. Now, last time I was at an occult shop, I bought a necklace with animal bones in it, and it cost me $20 by itself. Like you can't get a deck of tarot cards for $20. Find me a book in an occult shop for $20. Go ahead.
What is the purpose of a necklace with animal bones in it?
I thought it was neat.
Oh, okay. It does, but like do you know what it's like its purpose is?
No, I didn't ask the young man behind the counter.
Okay.
Next time.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm gonna look that up later. But yeah, you're correct. Tarot cards are pricey, especially if you're
Mhm.
looking for a deck that is outside of like the Rider Waite standard deck.
My last deck of tarot cards was like $80.
Oh,
for
but you
the
have those like beautiful ones with like the etching, the gold etching and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are beautiful. I have cheaper ones too, but like they were all more than $20.
You gotta
I
find
just don't
one.
know.
You gotta find one that calls to you and that you
Mhm.
vibe with. And
Yeah.
sometimes that's not cheap.
No. Mm-mm.
So anyway.
I also got this poster there.
Oh.
I don't
Ooh.
know if you can see it.
I can kind of see it.
It's Baphomet with an Aleister
Nice.
Crowley quote on it,
Nice.
which was also more than $20. I don't know what, like, maybe it was the 90s.
We should go sometime. We should go to that
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, you want to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Mhm.
So after they leave the shop, they're going through one of LA's areas that is more concentrated with unhoused people. And it looks like I was personally very uncomfortable with this part. I did not.
I think it's supposed to be Skid Row, which is a real place in Los
Yes.
Angeles.
Yes, it is supposed to. It's either supposed to be Skid Row or it's supposed to be something like Skid Row.
Right.
And it just makes all unhoused people seem like rabid.
Beggars. Yeah.
Like rabid and insane. And so they're like trying to get through, and Sarah's having what seems like some sort of like panic attack. And the guy with the snake shows up again, and he's like, oh, I need to talk to you. I had a dream about you. And he's like chasing her down the street. She's running away, and she crosses the street, and then he gets hit by a car.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty obvious that they all made it happen, or at least they all think that they made it happen.
And then Sarah actually made it happen by herself.
Right. Sarah's very powerful.
Mhm.
Also,
they're all excited. Oh, go ahead.
We forgot to mention, because this is one of the parallels, Sarah has scars on her wrist because she attempted suicide. So she had to fake slitting her wrists twice in a matter of months if this wrapped production, if Empire Records wrapped production right before this.
Right. And this was shot pretty chronologically.
Uh-huh.
So this would have been like soon thereafter.
Right.
Because, spoiler alert, Deb and Empire Records also slits their wrists, and they have a mock funeral for her. And Renee Zellweger's there, and Sexy Rexy's there, and Liv Tyler's there. Guys, Why are we watching Empire Records?
Yeah, you should be.
It's great.
You should be.
I know, like, we're a horror movie podcast, but there are some other genres that are great.
Listen, we love all movies. It's just that we love horror movies the most.
Yeah, like if you go through my like recently watched on anything, it would be 99% horror, and then maybe like a whatever God Bless America is, you know, like a dark black comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that movie.
it's great. It's good stuff.
Mhm.
I have been, what have I been watching lately? I've been watching a lot of like art house stuff.
Mhm.
I recently watched Annette, which is the new Adam Driver movie.
I almost read your review on Letterboxd, but I don't want to spoil myself. And I know that your review wouldn't spoil me, but I don't want to. Guys, I just don't want any knowledge at all.
It might spoil it. Don't look at it. If you're going to watch it, just watch it. And you know what? It's probably better if you go in blind.
Mm-hmm.
It's very strange. But like, you know, we appreciate all kinds of movies here. We just we just love horror very much. It's our child.
It's our child.
It's our child.
Yeah. That and Big Brother, which is on tonight. I'm gonna miss it. Damn it.
Just a public service announcement. All of Degrassi, The Next Generation is on YouTube. Chris, you don't need to hear this PSA because you have all of it on DVD.
Yeah, but I would like to, that's all the way downstairs. YouTube is right here on my phone.
Yeah. All of Degrassi, The Next Generation is on YouTube. Just so you guys know. Anyway.
Yeah.
So they hit that guy.
Oh yeah. And then they run to the woods to get like sneak a drink. And they have, I don't know if this is their couch in the woods.
Random couch in the woods.
Couch in the woods.
Right.
And this is like where we find out. Yeah, it's cute. Like I would live there. Like I would have a sit there.
Yeah.
This is where we find out about Menon. Wait, I can't.
Menon.
Yeah. Who is some sort of deity that these girls worship, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
We find out Sarah is a liar, I think, because she's talking about like this isn't the first time this kind of thing has happened to her. Sometimes she'll wish it would rain, and then a pipe would burst in her bedroom, or she wish somebody would stop talking. She just go deaf, which I think she was just saying to shut them up.
Right.
But hey, Sarah gets freaked out the more they keep talking about men and everything else. So she leaves and goes to hang out with Chris, and they kiss a little bit.
Yeah. And then he says, like, let's go to my house. Nobody's home. And she's like, no, I don't want to do that. And he's like,
she goes, I don't want to go.
Yeah. And he's like, and she's like, are you mad? And he's like, no, it's fine. It's whatever. So the next day she goes to school and the girls tell her that Chris has spread a rumor that he actually had sex with her and that she was bad in bed.
Mm-hmm. And we know the only good rumors are that Lizzo song or Bananarama.
That's true. That Lizzo song, I don't know what they put in that.
I don't know. It's great.
I can't stop.
Oh, guys, I know that nobody cares other than me. There's a new Kim Petras album coming out at midnight tonight, the same time this episode releases. So you're going to have to fight over what's you're listening to first.
Why would you tell people that?
Because well, the only two people that care already know.
Is it you and Kim Petras?
Yeah, we have a mutual friend, who I know will be listening to it. Hi, mutual friend.
Okay, well, so yeah, she confronts Chris, not you, but she confronts movie Chris. And he does this really sleazy, greasy thing where he's like, he like grabs her hand and was like, look, I'm sorry. I like don't want to go out with you again.
Yeah.
Garbage. So they go back to class and the girls say to Sarah, like, hey, we're gonna go on a little field trip. And then they get on a bus.
We missed one little part.
Oh, sorry.
It's the part that girl deserves what she's gonna get eventually.
Oh,
whenever we see
the swimming.
Yeah, I don't remember her name. I didn't even write it down. But there are
Laura.
Laura, yeah. She comes around at the end. Does she? You be the judge. Let us know in the comments below. So Rochelle is in gym class or swim class or whatever this is, and all the girls are mocking her, making racist comments. And then that's a little backstory on Rochelle. Then we get a backstory on Bonnie, who's at a doctor or a hospital, and they're like needling her scars for, I don't know.
It's supposed
science.
to be some sort of gene therapy to like help clear up her burns.
And then Sarah has a dream of her slitting her wrists. So, trigger warning.
Yes. And is this the part where Nancy goes home and we see what Nancy's home life is like too?
Yeah.
So yeah, Nancy goes home to her I think it's a trailer.
It's a trailer.
I also don't want to perpetuate the stereotype that everybody that lives in a trailer lives this way.
I used to live in a trailer.
Yeah, this is what movies from the 90s specifically want us to think that life in a trailer is like.
Guys, you can get a really nice trailer for so cheap.
Yeah. They're not bad.
They're not bad. I've had trailers nicer than this apartment. You've been in my apartment. It's really nice.
And it's a nice apartment. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this trailer, however, where Nancy lives wasn't that great. It was small. Like the trailer that I lived in it was like 10 years ago was 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, you know?
Right.
But the trailer that Nancy is living in is very small, like a tin one, like one you see on a lot of a movie. Mm-hmm. Like where like Renee Zellweger would spend her off time. You know, when she's not filming Empire Records, she would hang out in that trailer. And we see her mom and Ray fighting over the light bill. He didn't pay the light bill. But I think either one of them or both of them are intoxicated because there's a lightning storm outside, and that's what Ray's telling her, like, hey, it's the weather,
Right. So yeah, anyway, they go on what they call the field trip, and they get on a bus and they get dropped off at a bus stop, which is just a field.
Yeah. Why not?
And the most famous line of the movie happens here when the bus driver is they're getting off the bus, says to them, like, you girls watch out for them weirdos. And Nancy lowers her sunglasses and iconically says, we are the weirdos, mister.
Perfect.
Amazing stuff. But anyway, they go into the woods and they complete their connection. And they like take a little bit of blood and put it in some wine, and they all drink of each other, and then they state what they would like to happen to them.
What did Rochelle want? I didn't write it down.
Rochelle wants to not hate the people that hate her, especially bleach blonde pieces of racist shit named Laura.
Well, that's a good one. Everybody else is like selfish. No, that's a good one. Bonnie's a good one, but Sarah wants Chris to fall in love with her. Bonnie wants to be beautiful on the outside like she is on the inside. Debatable. I just like don't. Just like, this is a thing that happens so often. Like, have you seen the movie Freaky yet? Did you watch that? I don't think so.
It's on HBO Max. It's good, but there's this running theme where I'm supposed to believe that just because Catherine Newton is wearing like like some sort of frumpy clothes, that she's supposed to be like unattractive. Like I'm just supposed to ignore her face.
Yeah.
I just like, come on, stop. Like, I can suspend my disbelief for like levitation and for body swapping, but don't try to make me believe that anybody perceives Nev Campbell or Catherine Newton or Rachel Leigh Cook or Julia Stiles as like ugly.
Well, they were wearing glasses, so.
Exactly. Like, that's the thing, and she's all that. And it's just, they're
First
like,
of
not.
Julia Stiles is stunning. Even when she's wearing overalls and had glasses. Heath Ledger didn't deserve her, but I'm glad they got together in the end. So
You didn't think that, well, I guess that, yeah, he was, it was a bet and everything, or
it was a bet.
Not a bet, he was getting paid to take her out.
Right. But whenever he does like the song in the bleachers,
oh, iconic.
Do you know how much I love 10 Things I Hate About You? Did you know that like I can't listen to the ending without crying when she's in class reading it? I hate the way you do your hair.
Don't do it right now.
I hate those combat boots you wear.
Please. Oh my God. Stop.
Guys.
I'm not.
We need to do a spin-off podcast where we talk about Empire Records and 10 Things I Hate About You.
Don't tempt me. Because I will do it.
Time. I'm working 12 hours tomorrow, guys. I don't have the time.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. But I would.
So Bonnie wants to be as beautiful she wants to be more beautiful both on the outside and the inside. And then Nancy wants all the power of Menno.
Yeah.
And she chugs the rest of the wine.
And then they're attacked by a flock of butterflies. So
no. So the next day, when they go to school, Chris keeps turning around and looking at Sarah in French class, and then he follows her and Bonnie to mass, because it's Catholic school, so they have mandatory mass. And she gets him to
carry all of her books and all of Bonnie's books and her purse.
All of Bonnie's books, her purse. And she just says things like, shh, pay attention, and and he's just complying with everything. And then
nothing really happens till they get to Bonnie's house for maybe a weekend. There's was this before? There's a montage somewhere in here, but the next thing I have written down is when they start playing Light as a Feather.
Yeah, they go to Bonnie's house for a sleepover. They play Light as a Feather, Stiff as a Board. Rochelle levitates. So they're kind of realizing how much power they actually have.
And then Sarah someday during this montage in school pulls out some of Tammy's hair. Tommy?
Laura.
Yeah.
You're thinking of Tommy Loren.
I get the racists confused.
Yeah, I mean? Right, exactly. Yes. Blonde racists. They're one and the same.
So Sarah pulls out some of Tommy Loren's hair, braids it into Rochelle's, and they do a spell like that. Nancy waves her hands over Bonnie's scars. Lauren's hair starts falling out, and someday at the doctor, Bonnie's scars fall off or whatever happens.
Yeah, they go to check on if the gene therapy worked, and just the burns are just falling off of her.
Yeah, melting like butter.
Yeah, which is not the grossest thing to watch in the world, but
I don't think it wasn't that bad. It's not that bad, guys.
I've got a thing about peeling skin. I don't.
House of Wax. We'll talk about that. So the next day in school, Bonnie comes in late to class. Everyone's like, "Have you seen Bonnie? Where is she? She never called me last night." Because it's the 90s. We all call each other every night, make sure we're not dead.
This was before we got nothing but scam calls on our phones all day, and so phones have become a dead technology.
Right, because back in the day, when your phone rang, it was somebody you knew and loved.
Right.
Trying to communicate with you. It wasn't have you talked about your car's extended warranty?
Right. They sent me
Whatever else.
mail this week. The car's extended warranty people sent me mail to my home this week.
Burn it. Burn your house down. There's no way out of it. I don't get real mail like my parents used to when I was growing up. All my, like, if I go downstairs, I get my Yankee Candle coupons, which I asked for,
Mhm.
and the rest of it is like, here, take these credit cards, and we want to give you a better deal on car insurance. That's all I get.
I get a lot of that too.
I get nothing I want.
Because once you apply for one credit card, every credit card wants to be like, hey, us too.
Oh, speaking of credit cards, I mean, Apple. I have the Apple credit card, so I'm all Apple bitch all the way. Come on.
You are fancy. You are a baller.
I forgot my Apple Watch. It's like 6 years old, guys. Don't tell anybody.
Oh my God, I'm so disgusted and offended.
I know.
Yeah.
I can't afford a new one because I bought my ex a brand new one for Christmas.
Well, he should probably give that back. Anyway.
So Bonnie walks into class feeling the fantasy. She's strutting in, and she's like
got like like she's wearing something that like shows off her arms and her shoulders a little bit. And
oh yeah,
she just looks fantastic. Not that she didn't before.
Right, but now she's showing a shoulder.
She's
showing
confident.
a little neck. Yeah.
And boys are responding.
Breckenmeyer is like jaw on the ground, eyes Animaniacs out of his face.
Yeah, like a cartoon. A wooga. Yeah.
Yeah, that. And she's like, the teacher says something about late, and she says, sorry, my pedicure ran late. Like, she is this bitch now,
Right.
We're here for it.
Yeah.
She got a shoulder, whatever. After school or on lunch break, or they're walking through the quad. I don't know. Kids in school these days, in movies, I mean, like, always have like this really cool hangout area. When I went to school, we just went to class and that was it.
Yeah, there's no like outdoor. I mean, like we lived in Pennsylvania, and these movies tend to take place in California, where there isn't a bunch of like inclement weather. But I mean, like if we had like an outdoor area in
Oh, you didn't go to
Pittsburgh,
Valley.
not much.
We had a senior area that was in the middle of the school that was outside with benches. Like that was outside in the middle. I got expelled before my senior year, so I'll never know what it was like. Thanks a lot.
We did have one of those in Burrell as well.
So I take everything back that I just said.
But I don't know. I never went out there, maybe just because I didn't like people, or I was just afraid of people. I was just consistently Bonnie before the confidence showed up. So
I was more Nancy, I guess. I was outside smoking cigarettes under like in the outside the school, right by the 10 Commandments. That's where I would hang out.
I like your style.
Thanks.
I like your style, Chris.
Anyway.
So yeah, then Laura's hair starts falling out all over the place. And then the three girls that the spells started working for they're on the lawn and they're all talking about how their spells have been working, and they're all excited and giddy. And Nancy gets pissed off and like storms away. And Rochelle says that it's because her spell isn't working. It's not like coming to fruition yet. But don't worry, because it's about to, because Nancy Nancy goes home and she causes her stepfather to have a heart attack and die.
Well, he had it coming.
He did have it coming.
He made inappropriate gestures and comments towards Nancy, who was fresh out of the shower wearing a robe.
Right.
And then Nancy yelled at him. His mom yelled at her mom yelled at Ray. And then Ray's like, don't you ever touch me. And he started putting his hands on her. So Nancy magicked him to death.
Right. Elwood's on camera. Elwood, is there anything you would like to say for the people? Feed me. I would like food. So yeah, then it cuts after he dies, it cuts right to Nancy and her mother being told that they are going to be able to cash in on his $175,000 life insurance policy. Which let's see, let's do the inflation calculator and see
It
how
had
much
to be
that
a
would
lot
be.
because that apartment they get looks like it costs more than $175,000.
What did he do? Like, what did he do for a living?
If I had to guess based on only appearance, plumber. He looked like he was in the union.
$304,000, 400. Oh wait, 300,000. Oh my God, let me try this one more time. All right. $304,496. That's what that would be
So
now.
almost double.
Mm-hmm. So that's how much the value of the dollar has increased since 1996.
I still feel like that apartment they get costs more than that.
It depends on like how frivolously that they're like throwing this away.
Well,
It's
as
LA.
it's LA.
They're paying it's an apartment, so they're probably renting it.
Yeah, unless it went condo.
Right. But anyway, it's a beautiful apartment, and
It's a great apartment, yeah.
the mom has a jukebox that just plays Connie Francis. Such I don't know who, much like Rochelle, no idea who that is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And we're not sticking around to find out. Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, they go into Nancy's room and they start talking about doing glamour spells, which is not like beauty spells. It's glamoring is when you create an illusion.
They know they've played D&D.
Have you guys? Have you?
Yeah. Let us know in the comments down below. What's your starting class?
Yeah, so they start doing glamoring spells, and Sarah's like, oh, I bet I can do that. And then she like turns her eyes from green to brown, and like nobody gives a shit. And then she's
she
like,
changes her wig color.
yeah, and she's like, fine, okay. And then she changes her wig color from brown to blonde. And it does not hold up, man.
Nope, not even a little bit.
Hard to look at.
Mm-hmm.
This like slapdash filter that they put over her hair and were meant to accept as being like real.
They do like better effects later on. They've done better effects previous to this, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Like I would have rather them cut the video right there and like switched out wigs and then came back on.
Right. So
whatever.
They go back now that Nancy has been, she's confirmed that she has power. She wants more. So they go back to the magic store and she gets a book on the invocation of spirits, and she decides to invoke Manon. Manon. So they go to the beach and they do I call upon the guardians of the Watchtower of the East.
They are calling the corners.
Yes.
They all bring a thing with them.
Yeah.
A fish, a butterfly, a bird, a snake.
Right.
Again, they light so many candles.
Right. And it's a thunderstorm too. There's a thunderstorm.
It's a thunderstorm on the beach. Do you know how windy that would be?
Right. And how dangerous. Super dangerous. Yeah. But they all fall asleep on the beach after performing this ritual, which ends up with a bunch of like lightning and shit. And then they wake up and Nancy is walking on water and there's like beached whales and sharks all over the beach. And she's like, can't you see? It's beautiful. He's blessing me. And so from here on out, Nancy is going just like a little bananas.
Yeah.
And the spells start to turn on the girls. And Bonnie becomes like very narcissistic. and mean.
Yeah, especially for a girl who's been pretty for what, 3 days?
Yeah. Or maybe has just realized that she's been pretty her entire life and she could be acting this way if she wanted to.
Yeah. But like most people, I don't want to generalize. Most people who were like different or weird or like not as attractive when they were younger and then grow up to be more attractive are like humble still.
Right.
Bonnie don't have that.
Bonnie does not have that, no. Um, so Rochelle becomes a little disgusted with herself because she sees Laura like in the fetal position in the shower, sobbing hysterically because she's completely balding. And now that Chris is obsessed with Sarah, he picks her up and he takes her to like a lookout point, and his obsession with her culminates in him attempting to assault her sexually. She's rejecting him and she wants to go home and she tries to run away, but she gets away, and then she runs to Rochelle's house and tells all 3 of the girls, who were apparently just all hanging out there anyway, tells them that, you know, what happened. And Nancy remembers that Chris is at this party and they're all like, you shouldn't go over there. And she's like, I'm gonna go over there. And she goes into the party. Everybody is like not happy to see her there or very surprised to see her there. And when Chris sees her, he says like, is Sarah with you? And she like just says like, come with me. And they go upstairs into a bedroom and he's like, what's going on? Where's Sarah? And then it's kind of revealed that Nancy seems to have like, she still seems to have a little bit of a thing for Chris.
Who's wearing an ICP shirt.
Is he?
I would put money on it. He's wearing a shirt with a clown and other like an ICP clown face. So I'm not saying he deserved what happens, but like I'm not saying it.
If there are any juggalos listening, although we ourselves are not down with the clown, we are happy to have you here.
Yeah.
We might not be going chicken hunting, but we observe and preserve your right.
Okay, make one more reference now.
Did you know that? Have you seen Tila Tequila's Instagram?
No,
this is what happens. This is what happens when juggalos fling shit at you. This is what happens. She thinks that she's God.
She got kicked off Big Brother.
I'm not joking. She thinks that she's God. Yes, she is. She's still doing that. Very much.
She also hates the gays.
She's turning off her comments and saying that she is the bride of Christ and therefore she is God. And you've got to see it. You've got to see it. It is. All right. Yeah.
We all remember A Shot at Love, right? All of us. We all remember
I wish I could forget.
I loved that show. She should have picked Danny. She should have picked Danny, but she didn't. And now Danny's a beautiful firefighter. And what's Tila got? I guess Danny made out, actually.
Yeah, and Tila's
good for you, Danny.
Tila's God now. But that was just my last Juggalo reference. I support your right to go chicken hunting as long as you stop your fellow man from throwing feces at women, human feces at women, because you want to see their breasts. Anyway, whoop whoop. Thank you for being here.
Her account's private.
She privatized it.
Yeah.
No, really?
Mm-hmm.
She must have been getting enough of people being like,
she still has like 140,000 followers, but I can't see a one of them. This is the part of the show where we talk about Tila Tequila. And
where did it go?
We could talk about Brett Michaels with whatever that show was.
Rock of Love.
Rock of Love. A friend of mine saw Flavor Flav down the street from here a couple months ago at whatever Fun Fest is called now, Zone 28,
Why was he here?
to hang out at the bowling alley.
Okay. I think that her account was it just said Tila Tequila is God.
Subtle.
Yes. I'm going to see if I can find it. Anyway, maybe we should carry on talking about what happens next.
So Chris is upstairs with Nancy in his ICP shirt. Nancy's throwing herself at Chris. Chris is like, no, I'm not into you. I don't like you. You're weird. And then Nancy falls to the floor, glamours herself to look like Sarah, and Chris is just like cool with it. Like, oh, Sarah, when'd you get here? Like, there's no comment made like, oh, where'd Nancy go? Or weren't you just Nancy like 1 second ago? Nothing happens. So they start making out or whatever they're doing. They're kissing a little bit. And the other girls get to the party. Lauren is there talking to a girl, and then we see Rochelle, and she turns around. She's like, "Oh, hi, Rochelle. How are you?" That's my Minnesota accent, which none of them are from. But you can see now that Lauren's wearing a blonde wig that is not as nice as Sarah's wig, because you can tell that it's a wig. And so Sarah walks in on Chris and herself, ready to bang. And then Nancy turns back into Nancy and casts a spell on Chris. Or no, Nancy tells Chris how Sarah casts a spell on him to make them fall in love. And Chris says she's just jealous. So then our favorite scene of the whole movie happens. Maybe this is when Chris is backing up and he said he's sorry. And Nancy goes berserk and she levitates, but just enough where her toes are dragging on the floor, and she's floating towards Chris with her toes dragging on the floor, saying, he's sorry. Oh, he's sorry. He's sorry. And then she kills him with magic, like she killed Ray with magic, like she killed that poor houseless person with magic.
She knocks him out a window. And so now Sarah is all freaked out, and she does a binding spell to prevent Nancy from doing more harm. But it doesn't work. And so the entire coven turns on her, and they all get together and do things like invade her dreams. Mm-hmm. And then one day that she gets home and her house is empty, and she went to the magic shop, and the magic shop owner told her that she needs to invoke the spirit of Manon. She needs to invoke the spirit now, and she runs away. She's scared. She runs home, and she finds that her house is empty, and the coven has planned like this whole big attack, and they're going to make Sarah commit suicide for some goddamn reason. So they make her believe that her parents died in a plane crash, do like a whole thing where they like make a glamour of like a newscast on the TV about this plane crash and everything. And then they like make it seem like her house is filled with all these snakes and like rats and stuff. And then they show up and they're all like giggly and levitating. And Nancy keeps talking about how pathetic Sarah is and saying like, we're going to make you kill yourself. And like, you're going to confess to killing Chris. And, here's the note. So Sarah runs away. She runs upstairs, and she decides that she does want to invoke the spirit of Manon. And she does it successfully because she's super powerful. And she heals herself because Nancy had slashed her wrists.
That was the end. Let her go in peace.
Yeah. And so she says like, let them see, you know, what is the exact phrasing?
Let them see 3 times 3, something, something, something.
Yeah. So she wants them to see that they've got the spells coming back to them threefold. So Bonnie and Rochelle stop at a mirror, and Bonnie is glamored to see, you know, half of her face covered in burns. And Rochelle sees all of her hair falling out of her head. And they're like, fuck this, like it's coming back to us times 3, we gotta go. And they run out the door. And
I would have checked another mirror also, though. Like, I feel they just gave up so easily.
I mean, why were they there in the first place? Why did they want her dead?
I think just Nancy wanted her dead, and they're such followers that they can't make up their own minds.
Right.
Which we'll see later also.
Yeah. So then Nancy and Sarah have their showdown. And
Nancy comes out of Sarah comes out of a mirror.
Yeah.
And now Nancy's covered in bugs.
Yes, and she tells Nancy that she invoked Mental. Thank you. And that he told her to tell Nancy that she's in big shit because she is abusing the power that he gave her, and now she's going to have to pay the price.
Yeah.
So they have their showdown.
We missed the part, my favorite. It doesn't make any sense and doesn't even matter at all. But whenever Sarah is talking to Nancy, she has the Angelica Houston lighting from the Addams Family movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's just her eyes lit.
Yeah. That is good stuff. But
oh yeah. So Nancy apologizes and tries to leave until she's probably faking it, because we all know that Nancy's like unstable. But Sarah like says, okay, starts doing another binding spell on Nancy. But then Nancy has that knife in her hand and she flies towards Sarah, and then everything turns all topsy-turvy and they're walking on walls. A dresser flies into them, but Nancy gets out of the way. And whenever she goes back, we can't find Sarah and all the debris, but we find her empty, hollow clothes, like old Ben Kenobi. It is just the clothes laying there.
Yeah.
So Nancy goes to stab the empty clothes, and Sarah comes out of the wall and kicks her into a mirror, and it breaks to millions of pieces. And then Sarah keeps doing her binding spell.
Yes. Preventing her from causing harm forever. So the next day or whenever, I'm not sure when it is. So Bonnie and Rochelle go to Sarah's house. Bonnie is wearing great article of clothing, that like dress tunic or whatever that is. Love that. Sorry, that was off topic. But
off topic. How dare you derail this show by going off topic? Well, I never. If it happens again, I'm out of here. I'm just gonna walk right out.
Keep me in line. I appreciate it.
Yeah, but Sarah is unpacked, like getting her bags out of the trunk, and she went to the Limited. Where'd she go? There was like some good stores in there.
Right.
She just went to the mall.
Right. Bonnie and Rochelle show up and they're like all timid and they're like, hey, like, sorry for trying to kill you or whatever. Anyway, do you still have like your powers? Because we don't. And we thought that like, you know, maybe if you did. And she was like, did she say yes or no?
She said she wanted to know if Bonnie and Rochelle asked if they could hang out, chant sometime, because they don't have their powers anymore. And she goes, sure, hold your breath until I call, you know.
Yeah. And they're like, I bet she doesn't have her powers. And so she like turns around and like makes a whole like windstorm happen and like throws a tree branch at them. And she says like, oh, be careful or you're going to end up like Nancy. And then we find out that Nancy has been committed to a psychiatric hospital, she's completely stripped of her powers because
she's unwell.
Yeah. And she is just screaming and crying that she can fly.
Which she could.
She could before.
Minutes ago. Yeah.
Yeah. But that was the craft.
Oh yeah, it's over.
Yeah. I hope you liked it.
And if you didn't, tell us why, because maybe you hate the 90s. Maybe you hate the 90s.
Maybe. So every week on Idiot's Guide to Horror, we don't like to just give you our opinions. We want you to be able to make your own fully formed opinion. So we grab reviews from around the internet, and I'm sorry that if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm sorry that I keep looking out my window. And if you're listening to this and you just hear random things happening, it's because there's some sort of construction happening right outside of my apartment. I apologize. But anyway, we'd like to take our favorite reviews from around the internet. We call it movie reviews. Chris picked his in advance, but I'm dumb, so I did not.
I literally picked mine right before we started. As we were like settling down, I was like, oh, better get over to Letterboxd, which I did. And I will read you mine now while Cara looks for hers. I picked a 5-star review from a user named Ina, who says, feminism was invented in 1996 by Nancy Downs.
She's not wrong.
It didn't exist before that.
So this one is 5 stars from Robin on Letterboxd. All I want to do is go to Catholic high school, start a coven, and wear nice socks.
Yeah, doesn't that sound nice?
Yeah, I can relate. Bechdel test
Sarah Michelle
results.
Gellar also went to a Catholic school and wore nice socks.
She did.
Was not a witch, though.
No, she was just a socialite.
Which is fine.
Status high climbing.
Tried to fuck her brother, but hey, that's a different movie for a different day.
God, we really should. I wish you had the time to start a podcast about 90s pop movies.
I'm almost like 100% convinced to start it right now. This week on Cruel Intentions.
Exactly. Yes. And we could both wear our Cruel Intentions shirt.
Oh my God, we both do have one.
Yeah.
And we talk about how the opening song is Placebo, Every You, Every Me.
I think we've mentioned that a few times. Well, we've brought Cruel Intentions up a few times.
It's such a good movie.
We're very predictable.
I don't think we went on a tangent about juggalos for a while.
That's true.
Yeah. Probably other things too. Cell phones. We went on a tangent about flip phones this episode. Not flip phones.
No, just cell phones. The flip phones was in episode 6, Possessor.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah.
We've gone on tangent about smoking with the windows up.
Have we?
I have. That was a me. Sorry, guys. Guys, do you remember in episode whatever Halloween, whenever that nurse was smoking with the windows up?
Yeah, and if you don't remember, please go back to our Halloween episode. Is fantastic. It's with our dear friend Tim Costa.
Hi, Tim.
Hi, Tim. And it's very funny.
And if you scroll to any moment in that podcast, you'll hear me yelling about smoking with the windows up. It doesn't matter which second you pick, you click a random time, and there I am talking about it.
I'm not going to say you're wrong. I cannot say that you're wrong.
It affected me.
So the Bechdel test results, it passes like really, really easily. As far as the Duvernay test goes, so there is one character who's a person of color, and that's Rochelle. She doesn't have a lot of separate goals outside of her coven, her otherwise white coven. I don't think my problem with doing the Duvernay test, which like I do want to like bring attention to diversity and like the lack of it in horror movies as we've found since we've been trying to do this. My qualm with continuing to do this is that I don't feel like I am qualified to tell people of color what they should and should not identify with. Just the same way that when we were covering sleepaway camp, I don't feel comfortable telling trans people what they can or cannot identify with or feel empowered by. If Rochelle is an empowering character to you, that's fantastic. That's great. But as far as the points of the DuVernay test goes, I don't necessarily know if she passes. But as a white person, it's extremely shallow for me to believe. Elwood once fed and he's just like ramming his mouth into the desk to get my attention. It would be extremely shallow and misguided for me to say anything as to whether or not that means that this is not an empowering character. So anyway, should we do Idiot's Guide to Gore?
Yeah.
Did you say
I
one?
Gave it a 1.
I'd give it like a 0.5 out of 5.
Nancy slit Sarah's wrists. I feel like that's kind of gross.
It's like so quick and we don't like really see it. Like, is it gore or is it just like a little bit of blood?
I feel okay. Here's where it's a little bit of blood, but whenever Sarah says it's not real, Nancy pulls on her open wounds and says, "And why are you still bleeding?" Right. And like we see like a wound movement, you know. Is it gore? Maybe. What, like, are you grossed out? No, I watched the audition last week, so like I'm fine, you know.
How did you feel? Did you like it?
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was pretty gross.
Yeah, it's disgusting, but it's fantastic. Right. So every week on Idiot's Guide to Horror, we also like to imagine that we have been given the keys to remake or reboot this movie that we are covering. We are going to pretend that the Craft legacy hasn't happened in this instance, even though I had just said earlier that it's fine. And we will say whether or what we would keep and what we would throw out with the garbage. So Chris, this week, what would you keep about the Craft?
I really enjoyed the soundtrack. You know how I am for a 90s soundtrack, which was my only regret about Fear Street was the 90s soundtrack was so good, not one Our Lady Peace song. And I believe I texted you immediately afterwards to tell you that.
You did. You did indeed.
Not one Our Lady Peace song, guys. Then how was it the 90s? This movie opens with Our Lady Peace, so, you know, we're all appeased.
Right.
The soundtrack was great. The acting was great. The plot wasn't bad. There's not a lot wrong with this movie.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, somebody's falling asleep, Onions.
I get up at 6 a.m. now, which is not something I've done for the last 2 years. Not since I was a professional baker and cake decorator have I gotten up at 6 a.m. every day. Sir, it's so loud out there. So I agree about the soundtrack. I think that it's one of those, like, one of the best parts of watching any of these 90s movies is like these amazing soundtracks that are now like jukebox soundtracks to us, but at the time they were like these brand new, like, artists used to make songs for soundtracks. It's not a thing that really happens as much anymore. Maybe
like James Bond, I guess they do that still.
But like back then, like
when Prince did the entire Batman Returns soundtrack.
Yeah, or like it was a thing that started like in the 60s when like Simon and Garfunkel did all of the songs for The Graduate and Cat Stevens did all the songs for Harold and Maude, that kind of thing. And then like badly, like, I'm not gonna, there aren't a lot of horror movies where one band did the entire soundtrack except for like Suspiria was scored by Goblin.
That weird, the not Interview with a Vampire, the second one, wasn't that Korn?
Queen of the Damned, yeah, that's right. And we were supposed to believe that Jonathan Davis's voice comes out of Stuart Townsend.
I've never made it the whole way through that movie. I don't care for it.
I've made it through it several times. I used to love it as a teenager. Could I watch it now? Probably not. But yes, that was the thing that used to happen. And like, I miss that because if you like, probably if you look at the soundtrack for The Craft, aside from How Soon Is Now, all of these songs are probably like original like B-sides that you can't find on these artists' albums.
Right.
But they were like impressively popular bands at the time, like Our Lady Peace and whoever else. I know there was someone else that I recognized.
Wheatus.
Yeah. Even Teenage Dirtbag was technically a soundtrack song for that movie, The New Guy.
I've never seen it.
Okay. I did back in the day. I haven't seen it since I was like 12 or 13, but I did once. And I will, maybe not this time, but sometime I will tell you. I'm not sure if I'm ready to reveal a name. Maybe we could do this like a blind item. Should I start telling my grocery store celebrity stories like blind items instead of like revealing the celebrity? Okay. So once a person who acted in The New Guy is, can you hear my cat dragging his bowl around?
Yes. Is that what that is? That's so adorable.
Yeah, he is ready to be fed. An actor that appeared in The New Guy, once I almost called store security on them because they left their dog in a hot car with the windows up for 45 minutes. And I did not realize that I was about to shame page them over the intercom. And then I saw them walking out and getting into that car.
Okay, I Googled the movie. Was it Gene Simmons?
It's not.
Was it Elijah Dushku? I had so much love for her until right this second.
Right? It was very disappointing. It was very
my next guess was Tony Hawk, but like Eliza.
Yeah. But from now on we'll do it like blind items. That'll be fun. So just pretend, you know what, if I've ever said anything about Jake Gyllenhaal, forget that I said it.
You haven't.
Okay, good.
You've only mentioned
Elijah Wood
and maybe Willem Dafoe.
I never
who you saw out of a bus window.
Oh, I did see him out of a bus window eating a sandwich. That's correct. Yes. I didn't meet him in person.
What's the difference?
Yeah. But yeah, I've been rambling for so long. The soundtrack is fantastic. I like just anything with like these themes of like covens and sisterhood. And I think that that's like a really well done theme. I don't necessarily agree that it's completely well acted. I think that Skeet Ulrich is a little bad at acting. A little bit of a one-trick pony.
What about in Scream?
Same exact character.
Maybe he's just so handsome I never noticed.
It's the same character.
What about in Riverdale?
I've never seen Riverdale.
I watched 3 episodes. He was in maybe a preview or something. I don't know. He's very handsome.
But also, I think that it's like a very visually enticing movie. I think that there's also like this thing that I really love about 90s movies when we see like a teenager's bedroom. I get like bedroom envy for like Bonnie's bedroom. I was like, oh my God, like so cool. It's amazing. But if I could change something, I think that it would be this concept of like sisterhood getting broken up over anything, let alone men, or jealousy or competition. I wish that it would become more about these girls staying bonded by the things that like they have in common, their common goals, their common wants, their just all of the things that they have in common. Because I think that this concept of women being in competition with other women is played out. It was not yet played out in 1996, and I understand that. I think that now it's like we're a little bit past that. I think it's a little bit more tired and people don't use it as much unless it's like really obvious and it's going to become something else in the end. So if I could change something, it would be that, and maybe the casting of Skeet Ulrich.
I don't understand who you are anymore.
It's the same character as Billy Loomis.
If I could change anything, I would cast all the men as Skeet Ulrich. Every last one of them.
Listen, if he has to be Billy Loomis twice, I only want him to be Billy Loomis in Scream. I don't want to see him be Billy Loomis in another movie.
But he was a lovesick Billy Loomis in this one.
We see him as lovesick in Scream too. So
and he also doesn't. He gets mad whenever Nev won't sleep with him and Scream. And then what does he do? Kills everybody.
It's the same character. There's like no nuance.
Okay, well, at least Breckin Meyer plays a slightly different character than he did in Clueless.
A slightly different stoner.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you could change anything, what would you change?
I really don't know. I've been thinking about it for like an hour now. Maybe the wig. I would have changed the wig, maybe.
I still think that's decent.
Maybe we could have had Alicia Silverstone play Sarah.
You know what? I love Robin Tunney. I think she does a pretty good job, but I would have loved to see Alicia Silverstone in this role.
Especially with Breckin Meyer.
She never really, other than like The Crush, she never really got to do anything dark.
She totally killed herself in...
Well, as a teenager, when she was still very, before we only got 5 minutes of her in the lodge. And
what a great 5 minutes, though.
What a fantastic 5 minutes, honestly. Do you love her TikTok as much as I do?
I don't have a TikTok.
Okay.
Which is why I don't really relate. I do follow her on Instagram where she replays some of her TikToks. I'm also very concerned about her 9-year-old son who she's still bathing with.
Yeah, their relationship is a little bizarre to me, I guess.
I just Googled yesterday if she's still breastfeeding him. Somebody told me she was. Somebody told me she was. So that's in my search history now. So thanks a lot, everybody.
Anyway, Chris, what do you rate The Craft on a scale of 1 to 5 daggers?
I give The Craft 4. Well, I'm just gonna 5. I give it 4 out of 5 daggers. It is amazing. It is camp. It is great. And if you have a problem with my rating, it's my birthday, so fuck off.
Wait, it's your birthday today?
No, on Sunday. But
oh my
it's
God.
Almost my birthday.
I panicked. Chris,
no,
I knew it was coming up in a couple of days, but I did not. Oh my God.
Guys, everything's fine, everybody. Everything's fine. My birthday is not until Sunday.
Everybody just watched my eyes bug out of my head, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit style, and just like
we can do that one too.
like lost my shit. Oh my God, thank God.
Edit that whole thing out. Let's go back to the beginning.
Anyway, so you rate
it. Do you rate it?
I think I'm going to go ahead and give it 3.5 ceremonial daggers out of 5.
Because the snake dies. Oh yeah, no more dead animals. But that
no more dead animals.
Edit that. Yeah.
Even though we don't see it, it happens off camera, but still, I don't want to see it. I don't necessarily like that the showdown with Nancy ended up with her being committed. I feel like that's like a weird message about mental health to send.
That we're all witches.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind that. Please.
But it makes you crazy.
Please think that I'm a witch. But I do think that's kind of a weird message to send about mental health. And I think that like this time the ending made me kind of like, this feels like a weird like fetishization of psychiatric like care and hospitals, and like it doesn't actually really look like that. And so I'm gonna go with a 3.5 out of 5. You can tell us what you thought about the craft. You can email us questions, comments, recommendations to idiotsguidetohorror@gmail.com. Guys, email us, please.
Yeah, about anything.
About anything. Tell us
Do you want
what
to
you
talk about
ate
Saint
today.
Maud? Because I've been trying to watch it again, but I don't have the time. That's all I think about now is Saint Maud. Remember that?
Never waste
Email
your
us
pain.
about it. Oh, tell me
No.
about it. Amanda.
You
Such
could
a good
also,
movie.
it is very good. I know. You can also follow us on Instagram at Idiot's Guide to Horror, on Twitter at Horror Idiots. Maybe don't, I don't know. Facebook.com/horror idiots. On Instagram or on Facebook, you can find the link to our YouTube channel, which is just Idiot's Guide to Horror, because now you can watch us talk. Hi to the people that are watching us talk. Hello.
Yeah.
And please continue to rate our podcast on iTunes to help other horror movie fans find us. If you do find us on YouTube, I don't want to say this, but please hit the like and subscribe.
Yeah.
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 And please tell a friend about us. Please.
Yeah. We need friends, guys.
Yeah.
We're very lonely.
I forgot to mention that this was last episode was the end of our summer series. This is the beginning of our back to school series, which is
Happy
the whole
back
reason.
to school.
This is the whole reason we chose the craft. This is the beginning of our back to school series. So we are going to be doing a series of horror films that take place in schools. So
or around schools.
Or have heavy themes concerning schools. This is our season opener, if you will. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Yeah, we loved having you over, and
I bind you, listeners, from doing harm.
Yeah, now's the end. Let her go in peace.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Never waste your pain.